Ready for a deep dive into the life of a legend?
Oh, absolutely. Always up for that.
Today, we're exploring the world of Whitney Houston.
The voice.
Exactly, the voice. But we're not just, like, listing her hits. We
Right.
really want to get into, what made her so iconic.
It's a fascinating story because it's so much more than just achievements.
It really is.
You got to look at the context,
Yeah.
the influences, the music industry back then.
So we've got her biography to work with.
Okay.
And some music reviews from over the years, even a couple of sociological articles, actually,
Oh, wow.
about how MTV back then really impacted race and representation.
That's a great mix of sources.
Yeah, I think so.
You should be able to get a good picture, not just of her journey, but how she fit into the bigger cultural landscape.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
So let's start with her childhood.
Right.
Talk about a musical dynasty.
Yeah.
I mean, Newark, New Jersey, gospel everywhere. Her mom, Cissy Houston,
Oh, yeah.
a total powerhouse vocalist.
Uh-huh.
And then you've got her cousins, Dionne and Dee Dee Warwick,
Right.
and their family friends with Aretha Franklin.
It's like destiny calling almost, isn't
It is.
All these incredible, strong women
Yeah,
just owning the gospel scene.
totally.
That had to have a huge impact on young Whitney.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, musically, but also her aspirations.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And she starts early, too. Singing in the New Hope Baptist Church choir.
Wow.
You can hear that gospel foundation in everything she did.
I know. Even in her pap hits.
Oh, yeah.
It's there.
There's a depth there.
Uh-huh.
This emotional resonance,
It's powerful.
that comes from that tradition.
And it's more than just the sound, though.
Right.
Gospel music, it demands a certain kind of performance, right?
Yeah.
A real connection to those lyrics. A rawness.
Vulnerability.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Whitney just embraced that. It's such a demanding genre.
It is.
It really honed her skills in a way that would just serve her so well later on.
Totally. And then she hits her teens.
Yeah.
And she's not just singing.
Well,
She's modeling.
wow.
Even lands the cover of 17 magazine,
Big deal.
which at the time for a young black woman was huge.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And don't forget, she was also a background vocalist
Oh, yeah, that's right.
for Chaka Khan.
And Lou Rawls.
Yeah. She was soaking it all up,
I know. It's so impressive.
learning from the best.
That drive, not just talent, but she's got this drive.
Yeah.
Not content with just one path.
No.
She's exploring,
She's honing her craft.
really building a foundation.
Yeah, absolutely.
For what was to come.
And then, boom,
Yeah.
1983, she meets Clive Davis.
Oh, this is a big one.
This guy, legendary
Oh, yeah.
for spotting raw talent
Mm-hmm.
and turning it into, like, superstardom.
He sees it.
He sees something special in Whitney.
He goes all in, too.
Yeah.
2 years later, her debut album,
No.
smash hit.
I mean, Saving All My Love for You.
Yes.
Greatest Love of All.
Instant classic.
Right. But lots of talented singers release albums.
That's true.
But, like, few achieve that level of immediate success.
You're right.
I think it was this perfect storm.
Yeah.
Whitney's voice, phenomenal, obviously.
Of course. Yeah.
But the songwriting was top-notch.
It was.
And it just captured the mood of the time.
It did. It did.
Perfectly.
Those songs had this emotional core.
Yeah.
Plus, it was the MTV era,
Oh, right.
Yeah.
And
her image, her energy, it translated so well to the screen.
It did.
She was captivating.
And her crossover appeal was huge.
It was.
It wasn't just one genre.
No.
One audience.
Right.
She connected with everybody.
Across the board.
And this was also a time when MTV was under scrutiny
Oh, yeah.
for its lack of diversity.
Right.
So Whitney's presence, like a breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's almost hard to imagine now, but she was one of the first black women to get heavy rotation on MTV,
It's true.
which had a huge ripple effect.
Oh, absolutely. It challenged preconceptions,
Totally.
opened doors for other artists,
Yeah.
and showed that black female performers could be just as commercially successful
As anyone else.
as their white counterparts.
Yeah.
A real turning point.
1987, she releases her second album,
Okay.
also titled Whitney.
Right.
And it explodes.
Yeah.
We're talking 7 7 consecutive #1 singles on the Billboard Hot 100,
It's insane.
which is
I
insane.
want to dance with somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Where do broken hearts go?
Come on.
So emotional.
Those songs were everywhere.
They were.
And they still hold up today.
They do.
It's incredible staying power.
It is. And it speaks to her ability to connect
Yeah.
on such a deep level.
Do you remember where you were when you first heard those songs?
Oh, man.
I do.
I was a teenager. And I remember hearing, I want to dance with somebody
Wow.
at a school dance.
Wow.
Everyone went crazy.
I'll bet.
It just captured the energy
Yes.
of that
It
moment.
is pure joy.
It was,
Pure energy.
we couldn't not move.
No.
It was impossible.
But I think it solidified her place
Yeah.
as a pop icon.
Oh, absolutely.
Breaking records, pushing boundaries.
Inspiring so many singers.
Oh, I'm sure.
Aspiring singers.
Yes, yes. And she was doing it on her own terms.
Absolutely.
She wasn't conforming to any specific image
Right.
or sound.
She was just Whitney.
Yeah.
And that resonated.
Worldwide.
Yeah.
Okay, but hold on, because things are about to get even bigger.
Oh, yeah.
1992, she steps into the world of film.
Okay.
The Bodyguard.
Right.
And let me tell you, it wasn't just a hit movie.
Yeah.
It was a cultural phenomenon.
It was huge. And I think it's interesting. You look at the Bodyguard's success
Mm-hmm.
through the lens of the music.
Right.
Because, yeah, the film itself, box office
Red
fast.
Flowers.
But it was the soundtrack.
Oh, yeah.
Especially that song.
Oh, come on.
I Will Always Love You.
I get chills.
Yeah.
Every time I hear that song.
It's incredible.
Her version of Dolly Parton's classic,
Yeah.
I mean, it blew everyone away.
Oh, for sure.
It topped charts
Yeah.
worldwide,
Globally,
won every award.
Yeah.
To this day, it's still one of the best-selling singles of all time.
it is a testament
It is?
to her power,
Yeah.
her ability to, like, take a song
Yeah.
and just make it her own.
Yeah, yeah.
So much emotion, so much raw vulnerability in it.
Totally.
It just transcended genres.
It did.
It became a universal anthem.
Totally.
Yeah.
And that vocal power,
Mm-hmm.
something people always talk about.
Yeah.
What was it, do you think?
I think it was a combination of factors.
Okay.
I mean, her natural range was incredible,
Oh, yeah.
but she also had this amazing control.
Right.
This ability to just hit those high notes
Yeah.
with power and clarity.
Yeah.
And then there was the emotional depth,
Oh, for sure.
the way she could convey vulnerability and strength,
Yes.
like in the same breath.
Yeah.
It's rare to find a vocalist with all those qualities
It really is.
in such abundance.
It was a once-in-a-lifetime voice.
Yeah.
And The Bodyguard wasn't her only film success.
Right.
She starred in Waiting to Exhale in 95,
Uh-huh.
and then The Preacher's Wife in 96,
Yeah.
which, by the way, had the best-selling gospel album of all time.
Oh, wow.
It's like she was conquering every corner of the entertainment world
Right.
and The Preacher's Wife soundtrack.
Yeah.
It showcased her connection to her roots.
Totally.
Yeah.
Even when she was singing pop hits, you could always hear that gospel influence.
Yes. Yes.
That deep-seated spirituality.
It's always there.
Yeah.
By this point, she's a global icon.
Oh, yeah.
Sold over 200 million records.
Well,
Won countless awards. Her face was on magazine covers all over the world.
it's hard to overstate her impact.
It really is.
Breaking down barriers.
Yeah.
Inspiring a generation of artists.
Mm-hmm.
Proving that Black women could achieve this unprecedented success
Yes.
in a field that had historically been dominated by white performers.
Yeah.
Role model,
Inspiration.
trailblazer.
Totally.
Yeah. But, even as she was reaching these incredible heights,
Yeah.
there were, like, shadows starting to creep in.
Yeah.
This was the early 90s.
Oh, yeah.
And the tabloids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Relentless.
This is when her personal life starts to become much more public.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, a lot of it was negative.
Yeah. Her relationship with Bobby Brown,
Right.
which started around the Bodyguard time,
Mm-hmm.
constantly in the headlines.
Yes.
And not for the, the good stuff.
Not for the right reasons.
It was a tumultuous relationship,
It was.
to say the least.
Yeah.
And that constant scrutiny from the media.
The rumors, the speculation,
Yeah.
all took a toll.
It's hard to imagine that pressure,
Yeah. It's easy to forget
Yeah.
behind that dazzling smile
Right.
and the powerhouse vocals.
Mm-hmm.
There's a human being there
Of course.
dealing with real struggles.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes her story so compelling, but also so tragic.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And as the 90s went on,
Yeah.
her struggles with addiction
You're right.
became more and more apparent.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking to read these accounts
It
and
is.
see how her talent was being overshadowed.
By these demons.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that fame and fortune don't shield you from the realities of life,
No.
from the
Yeah.
challenges that we all face.
No.
And addiction is a powerful force.
It is.
You know, it can affect anyone,
Anyone.
regardless of background or success.
It's also important to remember the context.
Yes, that's true.
This was a time when addiction
Yeah.
wasn't talked about so openly
No, it was.
as it is today. There was so much stigma.
Yeah.
And I think that made it even harder for her
Oh, I'm sure.
to get the help she needed.
And the media,
Oh, yeah.
they didn't always treat her
No.
with compassion or understanding. There was a lot of judgment,
Yeah.
a lot of sensationalism.
Which must added to the pressure she was already feeling.
Oh, for sure.
It's a cautionary tale
Yeah,
about the double-edged sword of fame.
it is.
The same spotlight that elevates you
Yeah.
can burn you.
Yeah, if you're not careful.
And in her case, it felt like the media was almost waiting
Yes.
for her to stumble.
It's so sad
It is.
because even as she was struggling,
Yeah.
her talent never faded.
It didn't.
She kept making music,
Yeah.
tried to stage comebacks
But the focus always seemed to be on the personal life.
on the drama
Yeah.
rather than the artistry.
That's the tragedy of it, right?
It is.
This incredible gift just overshadowed
Yeah.
by all these struggles.
By the struggles that she was facing.
I think that's why it's so important to
Yeah.
remember her for the music.
For the joy.
Yeah, the joy she brought to
And the
people.
legacy.
Yeah.
Yes, her music.
Yeah.
Because even in her later years, when her voice wasn't at its peak, there were still these moments
Of brilliance.
of brilliance.
And her impact on music,
Yeah.
pop culture as a whole, undeniable.
Undeniable.
She influenced countless artists,
How many?
inspired a generation of singers,
Yeah,
and her music still resonates today.
it does.
That's the power of a true icon. It transcends time.
And then, of course, we have to talk about her death.
Yeah.
February 11th, 2012.
Found unconscious in a bathtub at the Beverly Hilton Hotel.
Just hours before a pre-Grammy party.
Devastating loss.
It was.
And it just sent shockwaves through the world.
Absolutely.
The coroner's report ruled it an accidental drowning.
Mm-hmm.
But heart disease and cocaine use were listed as contributing factors.
It was just a stark reminder of the fragility of life.
It was.
Yeah. How someone as talented and successful as Whitney Houston could be taken from us far too soon.
It's also a reminder of the importance of mental health.
It is. Yeah.
Seeking help when you need it.
Yeah.
Supporting those who are struggling.
And it was especially heartbreaking,
Yeah.
given the parallel with her daughter,
I know.
Bobby Christina Brown,
Yeah.
who died in 2015 under similar circumstances.
Unimaginable pain
It is.
for that family.
Yeah.
Tragic reminder that addiction can be generational.
Yes.
And that the cycle of trauma,
Hard to break.
so difficult to break.
Yeah.
But it's also a reminder of the importance of compassion,
Yes.
understanding,
Yeah.
and just never giving up on those who are struggling.
It's easy to get caught up in the negativity and the
Yeah.
sadness of her final years.
It is.
But I think it's important to focus
On what she gave us,
yes,
the joy she brought
into our lives.
through her music,
Absolutely.
and to celebrate her legacy,
Yes.
which is one of resilience talent,
Talent.
breaking barriers,
Inspiring millions around the world.
because in the end,
Yeah.
it's her music that endures.
It does.
Songs.
The voice.
That's what stays with
And
us.
her induction into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2020.
Oh, yeah.
That was a powerful moment.
Powerful moment.
Solidified her status as a legend
As a true icon.
whose impact on music and culture will be felt for generations to come.
Absolutely.
It was a fitting tribute
Yeah.
to a woman who gave so much.
To the world.
Yeah, who touched so many lives with her voice.
It was also a recognition of her influence.
Yes.
Not just on music,
right.
but on society.
On society as a whole.
She helped break down racial barriers.
Yes.
Challenge
And
stereotypes
inspired countless people.
to follow their dreams.
So after this deep dive into the more challenging aspects of Whitney's life, where do we go from here?
For me, it's the duality of her story.
Okay.
The extraordinary talent, the global success,
Right.
but also the very human struggles,
Yeah.
the vulnerabilities that she battled
Behind the scenes.
behind the scenes. Yeah.
It's a reminder that even the brightest stars
Yeah.
can face darkness.
Absolutely.
And that behind the fame and the fortune,
Yeah.
there's always a human story waiting to be told.
There is. Makes you wonder, doesn't it?
It does.
What if things had been different?
Yeah.
What if there was more support?
More understanding.
More understanding, yeah.
What if
It's a question that lingers.
it really does?
What if we as a society could do more
Yeah.
to protect, support these
Mm.
artists
Mhm.
who were thrust into the spotlight
So young.
at such a young age?
Yeah, they face these pressures
They do.
and temptations
Yeah.
that most of us can't even imagine.
No, we can't.
It's a tough one
It is.
because we love their talent. We
Yeah.
crave the entertainment. But do we, as consumers of that art,
Right.
have a responsibility
Yeah.
to think about the human
It's
cost?
a conversation we need to have.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It's about recognizing that behind the persona,
Yeah.
behind the stage image,
Yeah.
there's a real person.
There is
And
the
there's-
vulnerabilities with
there's-
struggles,
Just like us.
just like the rest of us.
Makes you think about how we treat celebrities.
It does.
How quick we are to judge,
Oh, yeah.
to criticize, to tear them down.
Especially when they make mistakes.
Right, exactly.
It's the paradox of fame, isn't it?
It is.
We build them up.
Put them on pedestals.
Yeah, then we almost seem eager to watch them fall.
And the media.
Oh, the media plays a huge role in that,
How
focusing
do-
on the sensational,
The-
the negative, rather than the artistry.
And social media.
Ugh, don't even get me started.
It's a whole other
A
layer.
whole other layer of pressure.
Constant scrutiny.
Yeah.
Online bullying, it's relentless.
It's like we've forgotten they're human beings
Yeah,
with families, with emotions.
right.
The same need for privacy and respect that we all have.
So what can we do differently?
I mean,
How do we shift this narrative?
Yeah.
Start treating artists with more compassion.
more understanding.
More understanding.
I think it starts with recognizing the humanity
Yeah.
behind the talent.
Mm-hmm.
Remembering that these are real people
Yes.
with their own dreams, their own fear,
Their own struggles.
their own struggles.
And maybe asking ourselves, before we judge, before we criticize,
Yeah.
would I want to be treated this way?
Right.
It's about fostering a culture of empathy,
Yes.
online and offline.
Choosing to celebrate the art
Yeah.
without tearing down the artist.
Without tearing down the artist.
Recognizing that addiction
Yeah.
and mental health issues are real.
They are.
They can affect anyone,
Anyone.
and they deserve to be treated
With compassion.
with compassion, not stigma.
Whitney's story is a reminder that we all have a role to play
Absolutely.
in creating a more supportive environment
Yeah.
for artists and for anyone struggling with personal challenges
It's about speaking up against bullying,
against negativity.
promoting positive messages.
Yeah, and remembering that words have power.
They do.
They really do.
So,
As we wrap up this deep dive
yeah.
into Whitney Houston's life and legacy,
Mm.
what do you hope our listeners will take away?
I hope they'll remember her for that incredible talent,
Mm-hmm.
the joy her music brought to the world,
Yes.
but also remember the human being behind the icon,
Yeah.
the woman who faced her own struggles,
Right?
who ultimately succumbed to the pressures
And temptations.
that so often come with fame.
It's a complex story.
It is.
One that highlights both the triumphs
The highs and lows.
and the tragedies.
Yeah, of a life lived in the spotlight.
But above all,
Yeah.
it's a reminder of the power of music
To connect us, to move us.
to inspire us.
Whitney's voice was a gift, a force of nature
Her music will continue to resonate
for generations.
in her legacy.
Well, that's something we can all learn from.
It is.
A call for empathy.
Understanding
Recognizing the humanity in each other.
whether they're on stage.
Or just living their everyday lives.
Exactly. And maybe, just maybe,
Yeah.
it'll inspire us to be a little kinder,
A little more compassionate.
a little more understanding
Yeah.
of the complexities and challenges that we all face
That we all face.
in this journey called life.
Beautifully said.
And for our listeners out there, thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the world of Whitney Houston.
Hope you enjoyed it.
I hope it sparked some new thoughts, some fresh perspectives, and maybe even inspired you to revisit her music
Yeah.
and appreciate the magic of her voice all over again.